Hi, welcome to episode 33 of Not Another Couples podcast.
That's lucky.
Double threes, is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I thought your flies were undone. It's not.
I haven't got flies.
Isn't it? I can't remember which. Is it Chinese? No. Can't remember. It's lucky.
To have the same number or just threes?
3 because they copy each other.
Well, all numbers would copy each other.
No, but they don't look as pretty.
Okay.
I don't.
So if you get pretty numbers, that's good. So what's been happening?
It's been very hot for people.
Very hot weather we've had.
Amazingly hot. The typical British. It's too hot now. It's too hot. I mean, I'm fortunate to have an aircon gym. So there was one day where we actually did put it in and close off the doors and stuff. That was, yeah.
That's nice. That is nice.
But yeah, it's the nighttime sweating. I think I might be menopausal because I was sweating a lot.
Manopause.
We'll
get back
sweat.
to the heat in a minute, but I think there's a lot going on in the world we need to just quickly discuss, I think. Mainly that man with orange hair and fake tan again.
Oompa Loompa?
Yes, that's the one.
Nice.
The Trump man. Trumpety, Trump. Yes, I mean, obviously...
I don't really know enough about it.
No, I don't want to start this being political, but we have to, you just can't
It is quite worrying what's going on in the world. We've got a client who's Kuwaiti.
Yes.
And his family is still in Kuwait. He lives in the UK now. And where his family live, they can see the bombs going over into Iran. Yeah. Which must be shit scary. And then I've got another client who's based in Lebanon, and the same thing. And you're like... And he said, the other client was talking about, he went to a wedding on the weekend, and everyone's just nonchalantly partying, disco, and you can see bombs going overhead. They've just got so used to it.
But I think that's the difference. Like our culture now, like our US westernized culture is so used to not having that happen. We haven't experienced that.
It's been one lifetime.
You know, the generation, like your dad is probably that generation who's 93.
Brought up in the Blitz, yeah.
Has experienced a war, bombs, unless obviously you're in the services.
What's the closest we've had? Falklands.
Yeah, but
Vietnam.
We're not like...
Vietnam was what, 67?
Coming to our country and doing it. That's the thing. Other than terrorist attacks, you know, an actual war.
That's the
which
closest
not they want a war, but yeah, like it's like World War III is kicking off in other parts of the world that seems so far away from us.
But that geopolitics book I read, which is all about geography and politics, and it's all about politics. You know, a lot of these things are about making sure that they continue to have oil being distributed into their countries. It's all, you know, I don't know, wars used to be based on faith and religion. Now it's all about power.
Yeah, but I think it was also land, wasn't it? Power.
Well, if you look at some of the maps and where it's just literally drawn a straight line.
What did we do to the whole empire?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at the colonies.
March in and go, yeah, we'll have it, thanks very much. And I think Trump's born in the wrong era. I think he should have been born many eras ago, where he feels that...
Well, I think there's other politicians or other leaders who are just as bonkers.
But he's just the one who
has a lot of power.
But I think his speeches, I mean, some of the things he says, you know, things like... Iran had to, like, he was waiting for Iran to have to get it out of their system, was one of the quotes he came out with. I mean, nobody says that. I mean, he just sort of says such basic...
But he's quite good. I was speaking to my dad about it. What he's very good at is he does a big song and dance. So a bit like the international students not being able to go to the States.
Yeah.
So he puts this big claim out, no students can come to the States, full stop. There's over, I can't remember how many million he said were in the US. Can't come. You know, we've got one athlete who's trying to get there. We've got another one who's already there in his second year. Can't come. And then what he does is he makes this huge kind of, lets off one big stink bomb. And everyone goes, fucking hell, that stinks. And then what he does then is change smaller laws behind the scenes. So when that stink bomb settles, everyone goes, oh, well, that's not as bad as what he originally said. So it's all kind
it's clever in a stupid way. Well, that's how
well, as soon as people start to die, it's not that clever.
No, but you know what I mean? As clever as in, like, the way that he's sort of psychologically just tricking people. But I imagine he sort of did that in business as well. You know, went in, right, we're going to, like, do this, we're going to make all this money, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then behind the scenes, he was probably, I don't know, knocking down buildings and housing to build his big Trump towers everywhere.
He was Belming.
He is 100% the biggest Belmer out there. But yeah, it's quite scary. He called it a 12-day war.
I'd love to meet him. Would you like to meet him? Yes.
No, I don't think I would.
I'd like to see how much of it is. I'd like to see him.
Well, we've seen him on that golf thing.
Yeah, I know, but that's all fixed. And how many cameras and how many security guards and.
Yeah, but meaning that he was less arrogant than I expected playing golf with someone.
But he was playing with one of the best in the world.
Doesn't matter. If you're that, like, narcissistic and you believe that you are better than everybody else, it wouldn't matter.
Can you explain to me why a daffodil is called a narcissist? I think they follow the sun, but a lot of plants do. So
you should know, you're the landscaper.
I know, but a daffodil's called a narcissist, so therefore it likes the look of itself. But I don't know why it's called a narcissist. There's something
there
for
we
you.
are, right in on a postcard to Not Another Couple.
Actually, but
exactly, Not Another Couple's podcast. Right in, please. Okay, well, we're going to move on from Trump because I'm trying to talk about him.
Well, I'm trying to read more about it. I'm trying to read more about. So the Kuwaiti client was originally Iran. They fled Iran, and he was saying that he's obviously now classed as a Kuwaiti, but the Kuwaitis have a special name for him because he's not true Kuwaiti, he's Iranian, and the Iranians have a special word for him because he's not true Iranian. So
he's like stuck in the middle.
If you think about not immigration, but migration, back in the day when people were starving and moving across land masses and stuff, we've always had. It's just there weren't countries then. You know, people were just moving around.
Yeah, there was no borders.
Looking for food and so on, and then this big one about the French. You know, obviously there was a record number of immigrants coming across the channel, and the English and French are meant to be in kind of coalition to kind of reduce the number of immigration. And then the French were getting in trouble for giving out life jackets. I'm sorry, if you're about to see someone drown,
yeah,
I think I'd give out a life jacket. I don't know. It's just you've got to ask the question: Why is everyone?
If they're giving them a life jacket, can they not prevent them from? But the French want them. They want them, and we don't want them. As far as like politically,
you got to ask the question. Imagine leaving everything you have.
Oh no, I get it.
But I'm just saying how desperate. Surely the question should be what's happening in the country they come from. But yeah.
But that that's a much bigger problem to solve. I suppose we just deal with what's happening here and now, in this bigger picture of what's happening where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Is we may not have.
We've got enough, very don't deep.
Have enough influence. I think they need.
Deep.
I know. Sorry, we've been doing this a couple. We mainly just want to talk about Trump and just his.
And then we watched that David Attenborough ocean thing on National Geographic.
Yes.
Which did finish on a high, but my God, it's quite brutal what we're doing. And this is just a tiny segment. The dredging thing, which they do across the basically you can see from space. They dredge the seabed, trying to get scallops.
There's like a massive metal rod on the bottom.
And 3/4 of their catch gets thrown back into the sea, dead.
Yeah.
And it wrecks the coral.
But this is what happens. I think development is good. So what has happened, obviously, in the olden days, people would fish, and they'd fish in your local area, and you'd supply that fish to your local village or town or whatever. And then mass produce, big business has come along, and they've invented these machines to make everybody's life easier and more productive, and these ships are enormous. They're in Alaska now.
The one that produces the krill and does it all on the ship. So catches the krill.
Yeah, it's literally like a massive, huge
the krill
factory.
And turns it goes dog food, animal food, all sorts. I used to get krill
into
oil.
Supplements.
There was a craze when everyone was having krill oil. It was meant to be very good for your omega, and they were doing it around all the whales that were trying to feed on krill. But it only takes 5 years there's that huge area around Hawaii that they've that's how you say it, okay. that they've developed now as a no-go safety
protected area,
and phenomenal the response. And then because they can't fish there, obviously the fish spawn and they grow, and then the babies get born and then they drift in the currents. Yeah, they drift
lobsters.
In the currents.
There was millions of them.
So, yeah, it is promising, but I just cannot believe that the government actually give grants for that dredging. You're like, it just...
But this is what we're back to the whole political thing. It's like,
but
behind the scenes, the political things are funding arms and...
But we have 8 billion people on the planet. So it's not like the olden days. We have to provide food for...
Yeah, no, I don't mean like the olden days, but I said that's what happened. Development comes along, invention comes along, machines come along, and it makes people's lives better. Like you argue the same with like cars and trucks and planes, and do you know what I mean? It's...
automobiles.
It makes the world a better place for us, but in the long term, it's not necessarily a better thing.
Should we go back to cart and horse?
Yeah.
We could get Ziggy with a little tiny small matchbox.
I saw a horse yesterday when I was driving to go... No, it was not in the place that you would expect to see a horse.
Sainsbury's.
It was in Tolworth Broadway.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
But the weirdest bit was, it wasn't actually going along the road. It was standing by the bus stop with a group of like people.
Of his Oyster card.
Just one horse. I was like, is the horse getting on the bus? What's going
Oyster
on?
Card.
Oyster card.
Around the back of Tolworth Gymnastics, there used to be a...
Yes, and I'm sure...
people of no fixed abode.
Yes, but I'm sure that's probably where it comes. But it was just bizarre because I was like, cars, it's got a busy road, and then this person just... A horse. It wasn't like saddled or anything. I don't know what it was doing. It's like taking a horse for a walk.
After watching Yellowstone, I'd like to have a horse. I know nothing about them.
Well, that's not a good
No, but thing. I'd learn.
I think if you had a horse, you'd need to be like out on a ranch or have lots of space. I still
have urges to have lots of space.
I think having a horse in a tiny little field or your back garden's not ideal.
Where do we go? Tunbridge on the weekend. It wasn't quite as country as we thought, but we were expecting to go and pick up Flynn from a place in the middle of nowhere. Well, it wasn't. It was in this lovely,
new build.
House.
Well, it was new builds rather than
it was. But I was saying to Flynn, or you were on the way down. You're like, if you were living out of town and you had the opportunity, you would really go for it. If you're going to be that remote, I would go for it and have a space where you can't see anyone else around you.
Yeah, but I think that depends on where you've lived before. Because we say, like, where we are here, people who come from a more central built-up part of London probably come here and think it's really green and lush and countryside.
It is, Suzie. It's the Royal Borough.
Which is lovely.
Thank you.
But if, like, we move out, it's like you move out, then we think that's, like, much more spacious and...
Yes.
Whatever. So it's relative to where you've come from, really.
Okay, thank you, Suzie, for that educational trip.
Carry on. So, talking about the hot weather again, let's get back to that. I'm getting quite hot, actually, in here.
Quite stuffy in here.
It is stuffy, but I've shut the window because it's a bit noisy. So, two things. Hot weather, it's been very hot.
Hot balls.
Did you... okay.
No, they were talking about it in football, actually. No, you just got a dirty mind.
It came out of your mouth, so that's more than expected to be rude.
So if I say something like pipe work, yes. See?
No.
What were we talking about? Oh, Amber's friend was over and she'd been travelling.
Yeah.
With ping pong show.
She'd been around Vietnam. And
one of the ping pongs hit one of her mates in the face. But then when I was travelling, it hit a guy in the eye and it gave him some STD. He got a puffy, disgusting eye for a bit.
Just from
the ping pong ball had been up
someone's areas.
Very accurate, though. Very accurate.
That's powerful pelvic floor as well.
Yeah, they don't need Pilates and stuff. Maybe that's what we should be doing. Not Pilates, but ping pong. Well, if the
gym doesn't, really take off in the next few months.
We've got the putting game. We could have the ping pong game.
Just sit on the edge and ping it out.
Yeah. Got a class on Wednesday. I'll put that out to the ladies.
Maybe not.
Okay.
No. Okay. No, maybe not.
Just think about it.
Not sure that was...
Sorry, hot weather. I diverted you again.
Hot weather. So hot weather with Ascot, Royal Ascot, all that pomp and ceremony was happening. And we had some friends who went, and obviously they've got all the proper top hats and tails, and I couldn't think of anything worse being dressed like that anyway, but dressed like that and really hot weather. I mean, I was like that the whole time with just normal thin clothes on.
I think because some of them were lucky enough to be in a box which was aircon, but then, as they said,
so
when they went down...
you've got to get there and get back, you've got to walk in, it's so hot. They've got shirt, waistcoat, tails, hat, just a hot hat. And some of these hats are like mega expensive.
Yeah, one of a friend was saying that second-hand it's like $3,000 for a proper top hat that you wear once a year, maybe.
Maybe a couple of times a year. But so there was on Saturday when they went, there was a rule because it was so hot. The men, this is quite rare, the men were allowed to take their hats off.
Their hats?
Their top hats off. Not their jackets, just the hats.
Love it.
But the women were not allowed to take their hats off.
But they're not...
So a friend's sister had gone and like this, massive head. So I couldn't take it off. She thought she could go in and then like take it off once she was sort of in the box, but they were still not allowed to take their hats off because she was like, I can't actually see. It looks great, but I can't actually see what's going on.
It doesn't really do it for me, that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, I went last year, not to Royal Ascot, but like to Ascot Racing in August. And again, it was a really hot day, but it was less formal. So it was a bit more relaxed. But we were in a box, which was lovely. And it's a bit more civilised because you sort of go up an escalator and you've got like corridor with all the boxes, and you just go out and go to one little desk where there's like 2 people waiting to put your bets on. You haven't got to stand outside and queue for... But it's quite... But it's almost like watching all the masses and everybody doing... It was basically like a Love Island audition, I felt. There was a lot of people.
Or was there a lot of people in tight suits?
Very small, very tight leg suits for the boys with no socks, and
yes, of course,
a lot of very small dresses with not much being covered.
Nice.
I felt that was fun. And then the other thing with the hot weather, did you see where the trains got stuck?
No.
So
I don't take public transport.
No, I know you don't, but it's been all the news, whatever. So there were 3 trains that were stuck in South London somewhere, or like out away from station platforms. And they'd been stuck for like 2 hours in the heat.
People in them.
And eventually they worked out how to open the doors because they were stuck. Can you imagine that? How hot it was. So there is a little clip of that video clip on all the news where it was a Uber Eats. So whether some clever person rang, an Uber Eats driver got them to come to the thing and bring water. And this guy was standing down like in a desert, like waste ground. And then the railway's up there. And he's like lobbing, but they've got the doors open, lobbing. The person catching things, but his accuracy to lob it through the door is quite a long way up. So there's lots of comments through, like people going, right, can we sign them up for our cricket team, please? We need someone who can actually throw from the boundary accurately. And then someone else was saying, his other job must be working for Every because they just like chuck parcels over your gate and into your thing.
Nice.
It's not me. It's like clever people. So I just thought it was very cool.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so literally it's like trying to get it into the doors of the train, but like high up.
Who was it yesterday? I had to go and pick up a mate because the trains to Kingston weren't working.
Trains.
I do realise that there's a lot going on. And
people were saying that people are going 30 degrees. It's like a normal day in Australia and something.
Yes, exactly.
And the same with snow. When it snows, a whole country
leaves on the line,
falls apart. As in Canada, they have like 3 metres of snow and they just dig a hole and carry on.
Put a snowplow through it. Yeah, I know. But yeah, it was being by the river. The amount of people that were going in and out of the river with the hot weather.
Yeah, which is not nice either.
There was lots of, I think, GCSE students who just finished, so they were having a lovely time. I ran to the lock, and past the lock, there's a really good jetty you can jump off.
That's where Amber was jumping.
No, further.
She was jumping and she got violently ill. This was 3 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, but further down, I found another area all these kidlets were having a lovely time. And drinking alcohol.
What?
Alcohol.
Did you not stop them? Did you not become the alcohol police?
Excuse me, please be careful.
So the other thing I went to see was, I've been very busy this week, was Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
I went invited by a friend to go to our local theatre, was hosting a George Michael sort of tribute band show, whatever. So we went along there expecting people to be mostly, I mean, she's a bit younger, but our age, sort of like 45 to sort of 55 probably. And whether just everybody looks really old now, I don't know. But she got there at first. I sort of walked up, she said, don't rush, because like it's really hot. And she said there's just loads of old people walking around. As we got there, and it was very comedy. It was very comical. I sort of felt like...
You said his voice was good.
He was amazing. He was good. And the band were good. But I just felt like it was like almost like a comedy sketch.
Peter Kay style.
Peter Kay. So they had a live band. So the guy playing George Michael, or not playing George, he kept saying, well, I'm not George Michael. And we're all going, yeah, we know. He's dead. And you're not quite George Michael, but, you're doing a very good job.
Very good job.
Very good voice. His ballads was really good. And he could just sit on a stool and just sort of croon and do his sort of...
Right.
That. The sort of more up-tempo ones are a little bit less George. But the fun is because obviously the band's there as well, so you've got like a lead guitar, bass, drum, keyboard, and some amazing backing vocalists, women, a girl
Pepsi
playing
and
sax, and well, pretty much I was trying to do our Pepsi and Shirley dances. And he sings backstage and then comes on. And so when he came on, I had a little laugh out loud because he's slightly more portly. He's probably like George Michael in his slightly more plump days, shall we say. But, you know, aside from that, he came on with the cropped hair and the goatee beard era. But he's wearing like tight black jeans, but he had this like padded bit at the front. I couldn't work it out. I don't know whether he had like loads of like those big baggy boxer shorts that were all just like pushed to the front. It was really, really weird, and I couldn't stop laughing.
You shouldn't be looking at a man's crutch.
Couldn't help it.
Yes, you
it's
can.
Literally eye line on the stage when you come in.
It's at Essex, and you can't help yourself.
Up. It was really odd. I mean, and then everybody around me, I felt like it was like Pam and Mick from like Gavin and Stacey. There was a lot of couples like Pamela and Mick.
Is it when he started to sing a song, everyone went, "Oh, I like this one"?
Honestly, there were groups of women who were, I'm going to say, 10 years older than me.
Go on then, say
it. They've got to be
I love it. I'm going to say, go on,
early 60s,
right?
Maybe older. Who knows? And there was a lot of that. So Joe, I was with, is 48 something. I think.
Let's say she's 41.
She's under 50. Right. Let's put it that way. And I said, I'm sure you're the youngest person here. You are the youngest person here. There was 2 very young people. I was like, who are you? You were here with your mum and dad or something? It was really funny, but it was a bit cheesy. So the guitarist, they were doing all that, like, I'm playing guitar and I'm a rock, you know, like that lungy stuff, and like, you know, the sort of winking and all that sort of stuff, and the sort of Peter Kay sort of head wobbles and all that sort of stuff. It was just, I did like cringe for about the first 20 minutes. I thought, I don't know whether I can take the cringiness of this. I felt I was on a cruise ship. Okay. It was very much that sort of vibe. We were saying, like, if you shut your eyes, it's really good. I just couldn't take in the visual of them.
And it's padded pants.
Did mellow down. I did sort of get used to it, and then they got everybody up dancing sort of in the second half, you know, playing more up tempo. But there's a lot of mum dancing, which I
love a dance bag down.
Cannot look at all the time. It's a lot of like, woo, yeah, woo, dancing going.
Not much foot movement, but a bit of shoulder action.
Very fun, and a lot of women drinking a lot of wine.
Obviously,
in the intervals. We had to get our sparkling water because we are crazy.
You guys live on the edge.
And this woman's like, "Oh, get a bottle of wine. We're going to be up dancing in the second half." I was like, "Oh, okay, woo, yay, go, mums."
Suzie,
I know.
they're having a lovely time.
It was very fun.
Not everyone has got your rhythm.
No, I don't mean that. I just was like, they were having a lovely time, and I was very happy for them. But it was just a little bit too fromagey for me.
Good fromage.
Bit too fromagey, and it was just the age range. I was really shocked because I thought they would be more 10 years younger, sort of 45 to 50s rather than 60.
So you go next week.
So George Michael Joseph is the guy's name. That's his Instagram name.
Rod Stewart next week.
Someone's like, is that like the Disciples? George Michael Joseph, Peter,
David
Paul.
Essex. Who else would you see in that era? David Essex.
David Essex is not George Michael's era.
No, he came to Epsom once. I think he was trying to get his son there or his daughter.
Okay.
And all the teachers were like, "Woo!" and all the kids were like, "Who's
that old bloke?"
Yeah, David Essex. Not Joey Essex.
I don't think he was born probably then, Joey Essex, when you were at school.
True.
So yes, that was Saturday night. Saturday night. You were supposed to go somewhere and you weren't well, were you?
A bit of a head cold.
You've had a
Still
bit of a
got a little
mouthful.
bit.
You do sound a little bit nasally.
Feel a bit average. Trying to energise that feeling when you just everything feels a little bit harder than it should.
And it's
I
quite
don't
hard
have my usual mojo.
Motivate other people to do stuff when you're feeling a bit.
Yeah. That's the only thing with this job. When you're up, well, I'm naturally normally bouncy and annoying, but when you're slightly down, you're like, okay, and it's fine. But that tends to be the day when you've got clients who
take a little bit more
offload quite a bit, and you're like, whoa. So yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that what you say?
But we've got a good weekend ahead. You got your mum's.
Oh yes, my mum's very big birthday that we're not allowed to mention what number it is.
No, she's got. But how many times we should have a spread bet, family spread bet? How many times she cries this weekend? With joy, not with sadness.
Or she'll cry when we get there. She'll cry when we leave.
Yeah.
And
I think
she'll cry Saturday night because she'll have had a few.
Oh yes.
Wines.
Amber's desperate to get into the kayak again. She has a panic attack.
No, she definitely won't. Yeah, that's evil.
No, well, she is evil, your daughter.
Takes after you.
Huh?
Takes after you.
No, thank you.
Bit.
So yes, I'm looking forward to that.
So we're going to a lovely place in Dorset. I don't know if they speak like that in Dorset.
I feel a bit old, but I'm really looking forward to just.
Yeah, but just.
I haven't been surfing.
That doesn't have to be an age thing.
I haven't been surfing, or I need to. I'm feeling a bit stir crazy. I feel a bit spoiled. But when did we last go away?
Skiing.
Yeah, Christmas. No, Easter.
Easter.
Yeah.
Which was about 2
and we got really lucky with the weather there. But I don't know. I just think a break is as good as, what do they say?
But I think we were talking about this.
What's the saying? A break is as good as a wank. No. What is it? Oh no, she's going to quiet now. Yeah, but what's it called? Oh God.
Right, but a break is as good as a holiday. Let's just call it that. Okay. Anyway, I know what you mean.
Sorry, Suzie, to interrupt you with your double logo and your green glasses.
I'm really on brand today.
And your green bracelet and your green chair.
So, sorry, quick backtrack to my glasses.
Yes.
We were doing some filming last Tuesday, which we can talk about in a few weeks. We can't talk about it yet. It's very exciting.
Disappointing.
And I was wearing these. I should literally get these for free because...
I've got a pair.
Everybody I know, when I wear these, says, "Oh my God, I love your glasses. Oh my God, I love your glasses. Oh my God, I love your glasses."
Is that what they say?
And I promote where
they've all got a stutter. Not a stutter.
No, like in different people.
Oh, not the same person, just repeating themselves.
Well, they do, because they just love them so much.
Okay.
That's because they look so amazing on me.
Brings out the algae in your eyes.
Brings out the mould. My
penicillin.
Yes, so if you could get these glasses, please. More of them, thank you. Different shapes, thank you. Weekend, holiday, back to holiday. We're having a little mini break. We're talking about having mini breaks versus like big, long... holidays, I think, is also equally as beneficial, or probably better, because you don't worry about being away. When you have your own business, it's quite hard to be away for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I said, some of the weekend, they said, "Oh, you're going to France?" I'm like, "Yeah, for 2 weeks." "Oh, only for 2 weeks." I'm like, "Sorry." But because they go to their place in Mallorca for much longer, because they only really go to there in the summer. They don't go there the rest of the year, whereas we would use our place skiing, summer, intermittent. And also... his job possibly could just sit on the computer and do whatever in the world. Doesn't have to be physically...
Damn right, Suzie.
Yeah. Jesus. So, first world problem, we're only going for 2 weeks. Sorry. And we were saying, obviously, once back at sort of routine of having like mini breaks of just like, even if it's just a night away or a couple of days away from all the normal stuff.
There's a lot of hand movements going on. A lot of hand movements.
I have to sit on my hands.
Look at your bites come up.
Do you not see me sitting on my hands?
Yeah, I know. But look at your bites.
I know.
Is there a correlation, Suzie? I don't know if there is. Is there a correlation between hay fever and being bitten a lot? Being attractive to bugs?
I think that is...
I just wondered.
...the case.
I just wondered if there was.
I just think some people react. Maybe there's a reaction, is how the bites react. So that one there, you can see it, is literally like... a third arm growing outside. It's hard.
Don't put your nail in it.
I did that last night.
Put some ice in it. You always do that.
And then
you are so basically. If anyone's
sorry, how many bites have you had that have been really itchy like that ever in your life? Yeah, because then you don't understand.
No, I was about to say, if anyone ever gets bitten by bugs, just stand next to you.
Yeah,
because you are.
Everybody's. I said that the other night. So I think there's 2 occasions. So the polo I went to last week. We were outside.
Outside, but you didn't get bitten then.
Well, I felt them, but they didn't come up. No. And then I think this was from Saturday night or something in our bedroom because I've had the window open a lot.
Me? I'm nibbling on you?
Wrong side.
I lean over.
Do you? I don't need you. Have we got any Mark's bits this week? Or we just...
I had a good chat with a nutritionist. There's a brilliant nutritionist called, I hope I'm saying her name right, Janaid, Janaed, and it's Nutrition and Co. She's based in Northern Ireland, I believe.
Right.
And she works with one of the athletes, Connor. Yes. And she's very good. And we work in conjunction together. I do the strength conditioning. Anyway, we were talking about creatine again. And at the moment, everyone just takes 5 grams. But it's a bit like whey protein, where you take a certain amount per kilo of your body weight. So if someone's 100 kilos compared to a 65 kilo endurance athlete or whatever a person, there's difference. So there's I didn't realize the research was out in 2012, long time ago, but there's been recent research as well. So they're talking about 0.1 grams per kilo.
Right, so a bit like your protein intake.
Yeah, so me 90 kilos, I should be taking 9 grams, not 5.
Right.
And
that's
also,
quite specific.
I was
do you actually measure out 9 grams when you take it, or you just put...
No, I just do a scoop and a half.
Yeah.
So each scoop's normally 5 grams in all these packs. But the... where was I going with it? Oh God, my
90
small
kilos
little
should
brain.
be taking 9 grams.
Yes, no, there's something else.
Most recent research?
Yeah, age of... So I get asked when should you or when would you advise kids to be doing it? It's very dependent on the child. You know, normally we'd go kind of around that, perhaps 15. She was talking about 13, 14, if they're doing a huge amount of training or gymnastics or something.
If they're training at a high level, elite level.
But high level of high intensity interval style.
Yeah, so the type of training, not just playing
But there is the original science was there was a fear that it was going to put stress on the kidneys. There's nothing there at all on that, and loading. So yes,
and so the benefits for a young athlete to take it or...
Well, again, it's increasing. A little bit. I mean, a lot of the adults are now taking it for cell function, cognitive function. It apparently reduces cramps and things like that. I haven't read a huge amount on that one, but cognitive and performance are the ones, and recovery again. So, yeah, I think what you've started to notice is some of these bigger supplement companies like HealthSpan and the good ones are actually adding it into almost like a combination of whey protein, creatine, branched chain amino acids, all in one, and digestive enzymes all in one.
But then how do you work out how much you should take per person?
Then that's the argument. So if you are just taking creatine...
If you want just a general health...
I just think it's easier to have... Yeah. Like I said recently, it's, it's the one thing... You still get creatine from red meats. There's an argument if you have a lot of red meats, you don't have red meat. There's a lot of red meats, then obviously a little bit higher cholesterol for adults, well, for everyone. So I think with whey protein, you can get your protein intake from meats and fish, blah, blah, blah. But with creatine, it's very difficult to get to those levels through just food alone. So I think if you're going to have creatine, either add it manually to your whey so you know what you've got, rather than the kind of the multi-pack. And then there was all this talk about the creatine gummies, which I did promote originally.
Yeah.
And then there was quite a bit of research that actually they're not providing the creatine that they say they are. So stick with a powder. I know it tastes like chalk, but there's worse things in life. You've had worse. Awkward silence. Anyway. Lovely weather we're having. It's a bit overcast today, Suzie.
Yes, slightly cooler today.
Look.
It's got slightly cooler all of a sudden.
You've got your name on your mug. I now know your name. Z, who bought you that?
Not you.
I know.
One of our children.
Okay.
I can't remember which one. Got so many. So insect bites. Anybody got any remedies, brilliance, any info regarding insect bites? Because I do suffer from
Wear a caftan.
Sort of stop insects going up the caftan,
you look
are
good.
they? I've got a caftan.
Have you? What's a caftan?
That long, floaty...
That tie-dye thing?
Yeah.
Is that a caftan?
It's like a caftan, yeah.
It's like a caftan or is a caftan?
It's not a specific caftan, but it's called a caftan. It's like a fashion caftan, probably.
Fashion?
Well, rather than an authentic caftan...
Hi. Today I should be mainly wearing... What was the far show?
What I have to deal with.
Really comes out of the caravan. Today, what was his accent? I am mainly wearing a fashion caftan.
I'm not talking to
I didn't know there was such a thing as a fashion caftan.
What I meant was...
Here we go.
Not an authentic cultural caftan. It's just something... Yeah, it's going to be... It's just going to be the Suzie podcast.
If you could choose another... Because I'm talent, as you called me once.
I've got a list.
Who would you choose?
I've got a list.
Come on, no, quickly.
I've got a list.
Top 3 who would sit in this chair.
I'm not going to tell you.
You tell me.
Because you're off anyway. I can't tell you. I'm contracted not to let you know.
Okay.
That you've been chucked.
Not another... It would have to be a couple, so you'd have to marry them.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
Could be a friendship couple. Friends with benefits. Brad's going to be on it with me.
I don't know if you like him. Apparently he's not as nice as you think he is.
I just like looking at him. I don't necessarily need him to talk or do anything. He can just sit there and I'll talk.
You wouldn't be able to talk. You'd be like... Would you be starstruck if he came in the room now?
Yeah, probably. Okay. I don't know, though. Yeah, of course I probably would. I don't know about starstruck. I think I'd go a bit like... and then that'd be it.
Just that noise? Yeah. And then that'd be it.
And he'd go, wow, thanks, and walk out.
The one person I
find...
Who
would you be starstruck?
The one person I find very, very funny, who is she's the presenter, black woman, brilliantly wonderful laugh, and they show...
Alison Hammond?
Yes, and they show her clips of doing some of her interviews.
Yeah.
And just... saying to whoever played Ken in Barbie.
So she had Ryan Gosling and she had Harrison Ford.
Saying to Ryan Gosling, that's a big how do you think you'll ever get Ken out of you or something?
Yeah, but prior to that, she interviewed Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford together. I can't remember what film it was for.
That was for Blade Runner.
And that was the first one.
That was Blade Runner. Have you ever seen it? And they said,
no, never seen it.
Yeah.
And it must be so refreshing, whether it's set up, whatever, I don't know. But then they started drinking and just her laugh is infectious. She's got one of those laughs that...
But she is naturally funny. You know, what we were saying is when we...
I think she's toned it down quite a lot as she's got into more...
Mainstream
TV, This Morning, all that sort of stuff. Because you have to sort of behave a bit on those.
She seems to be... Obviously, she does lots of rehearsals. But when you meet stand-up comedians, their ability to come back with retorts so quickly.
So we were watching Last One Laughing.
Yes.
So Jimmy Carr is the main presenter. It's his show. And Roisin, can't remember her surname. You'll know who you mean.
And then lots of comics from...
So they basically the show is premises. They're in a sort of a Big Brother sort of set room where they've got a little kitchen and lounge and a little stage and lots of little props and rare
and they have
stuff.
to do little shows occasionally.
And the idea is that they do not laugh.
They get a yellow card and then they're out.
So they've got one, so there's 10 of them maybe to start with.
Yeah, maybe.
And they get yellow card and then red card for that. So, and they sort of leave them to their own devices for a bit and they're all trying to like make each other laugh. And
Bob Mortimer, Rob Beckett, who's the very, very erudite, bright.
Richard
Owen. I can never say,
I'm really bad at surnames.
Very, very good.
Joe, again.
Lycett.
Joe Lycett, but then the other Joe with the beard, the long hair. The guy who's
Wilkinson.
in after, Wilkinson or Wilson. Terrible with surnames, sorry.
He was in Afterlife, wasn't he?
Yes. But some very, very good people in there, obviously. And actually, the people... There was a couple... I'm not going to tell you who ends up winning it.
No, don't, Suzie.
Go watch it, but it's very interesting. Then, obviously, if it sort of slows down a bit and no one's really getting yellow carded or whatever, Jimmy Carr comes through these doors and he sets some little challenges to do. Also, they play their Joker, so each person goes up on the stage and does a little sketch or little something to try and make everybody laugh. And obviously they've got cameras everywhere so they can see if someone's sniggering. They're not allowed to. So a lot of them do it like tricks. They get like food or drink, so they're chewing something, so it stops.
Having a beard helps.
Stops them laughing or try to stop them laughing. So yeah, very good. Actually, when it first started, I was a bit like, oh, it's going to be a bit rubbish. And actually, we sort of got into it as it went on.
That would be recommissioned, won't it? You just rotate the...
But I think they got some really good people in there. So I think it'd be quite hard to get 10 really good comedians all the time.
Bernard Manning.
Dead.
Ah. Yeah.
Bob Monkhouse. Dead.
He was apparently an amazing actor. I was reading that
Miriam Margolyes.
I got it half right, not even that. But she was talking about she did some
They should get her in there.
She did some acting.
Oh my God, yes please.
With him and said he was absolutely an amazing actor, a real gentleman.
Yeah, because he sort of came was very schmoozy and very sort of womanising.
No, not at all. She said he was a real gentleman.
But that's what I would think. I think, we could try and find some other comedians that would go in it. And there's lots of like up and coming. There's hundreds of comedians who are very good.
Thousands across the world.
Yes, across the world. So then they could become international, which would be quite good. To get the culturally different.
I'm not internationally known, but what I am known is to rock the microphone.
Who sang that?
Rebel MC. Rebel MC. I can't do the bass.
No, let's not do that.
Anyway. I used to be good at beatbox.
Okay, well, that's enough of you.
Thank you.
So
I'm being replaced.
Of course. Thank you for listening. And you may see Mark next week. You may not. Depends if he's nice to me all week.
I will be.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Ta-ra.